surprised? You shouldn't be. This is our new Columbus City Schools, and we are ready to change the way our students learn and succeed. I'm excited to share with you today our finalized Portrait of a Graduate vision for our students. Simply put, the Portrait of a Graduate is a student plan for success. This plan is a game changer, not only for our district, but also for Columbus. It unifies our community, our stakeholders, and our students behind 6 key attributes. Our students will master these skills as our portrait becomes the North Star for our district and for our new strategic plan. All of our students will be empowered for success as a citizen in a global community. The success of our students is the future of our community, and it's critical that we get it right. We have engaged our community for the past 2 years to design our portrait, and we know this is the best direction for the district and the brightest future for our children. So let's take a look at the portrait of a graduate that we created together. Our first attribute for our students is adaptability. Simply put, we want our students to both accept and thrive in a changing world.
One of the things is that the landscape is changing, and as the landscape changes, we have to make sure that we are preparing ourselves and our students for what is out there.
I think that adaptability is so spot on, especially for this exact situation.
We have thought about what is the future of our kids? What is the future of work? What is the future that we need to prepare them for? Well, guess what? That future just met us right now.
When the pandemic hit, our kids had to pivot immediately. They showed incredible resilience and embodied this attribute so well. Learning takes effort, and online learning requires focus and dedication.
So it made me challenge myself and, go outside of my box and be more creative in my way of learning.
I would argue that our kids have always been adapting.
They just know how to be a little bit more flexible. Just because of how rapid things change.
Whether it's new leadership, a new principal, you get a new teacher, particularly when you get in middle school and high school, every year your teachers look different. You are adapting and we don't even know that we're adapting.
I don't want to be the same person I am 2 weeks from now. I want to be better. I want to better myself every day.
You'll be working on something and the priority shifts, you're asked to work on something else. And if you don't have these adaptability skills, it's going to be hard for you to move from one to another quickly.
You can kind of change your course without negatively impacting the outcome. So you'll still get the desired outcome that you wanted, but you might just get there a different way.
And we find that that's the most compelling part of this work is how do we equip them to thrive in that rapidly changing and very complex world.
2020 was a year where digital proficiency was a necessity, and we're not slowing down.
I'll champion every teacher that is in this district who has literally changed the way that they do it all.
We were in school when encyclopedias were the internet.
Now students can learn all of that on a little device.
That's what they know. They're always on phones, they're always on tablets.
They learn to swipe before they learn to read. We need to cater to that generation.
Not only does it help with classroom management, but they're learning the way they like to.
I like working on the computer because if you get a question wrong, they'll tell you what the mistake was.
And so technology to me is the ability to use everything in conjunction to promote learning and the most successful outcomes for our students.
I think with anything, it's important to start as young as you can.
We're working very closely with curriculum to build instruction that will lend itself to technology integration.
We'll do virtual field trips on Zoom, so we was even more excited because we've never been on a virtual field trip before. And they showed us the fishes, the different fishes they had, the sharks.
I kind of feel bad for other people that don't get to do that because that's so cool.
We want to make learning fun. We want them to learn even if they don't realize they're learning.
There are a plethora of doors that are being opened because of this digital age that we're in.
I major in computer science because that's the wave today. Computers, computers, computers.
It gives opportunity for collaboration. Nobody is an island. We want our students to have the ability to work together.
And even if you don't go to college, that preps you for anything in life. Knowing how to use technology builds the foundation for a community and society today.
They can create what they want out of life because the technology is ever-changing.
It's no longer nice to have. It is no longer a capability we are trying to build. It is something you need to have. Columbus City Schools is poised to be the national leader. Let's help as many students as we can so that they can have successful outcomes.
The attribute of communication goes beyond just talking. We want our students to be able to effectively express their thoughts and ideas to each other, while also mastering the ability to listen and understand.
Being an effective communicator is having that two-way dialogue. It is knowing what to say, when to say it, but also knowing when not to say something and just listen. To be an effective communicator, you've got to be a good listener first.
Think about how many problems could be solved just by better communication.
Students are savvy and they're aware of what's going on and they want to play an active part and they want to be able to use their voices. So our role, I think, is being able to give them a box to stand on so that their voices are heard.
Communications is a loop. And so you may have a message that you want to get out and you want to communicate, but if there's no one listening to that message, the loop is not closed.
Protesters gathered outside to voice their frustration over several issues.
You know, when they came to my house to protest, which they have every right to do, and they're saying, grown-ups, you have to look at this. You have to answer and address the hard questions. I sat at my table, invited them to the table after everything was done, and we talked. And I listened.
As adults, we want to serve as examples for our students. The more we incorporate student voice in everything we do, the more our students are committed to the process.
Adults are really not used to hearing from students. Like once they do hear from students, change really does occur. And if you want change to occur, you just got to speak up.
A lot of students, when they go to school, it's something being done to them. And we find that when they have a voice in that, there's a different level of commitment and energy that's created because they've had some say.
So when you get student input, it makes every student think, hey, you know what, school's not so bad anymore because this thing has been accommodated for me so I can be able to get here and get what I need.
They need to be creative in their communications. They need to be adaptable in their communications. They need to be empathetic in their communications because their voice is critically important. And as a school district, we need to empower that voice, lift up that voice, celebrate that voice.
Are you starting to connect the dots? All of our attributes tie into each other, and this is intentional. Through creativity and technology, our students are learning to be effective communicators, be it writing, music, demonstration, or student ambassadorship. And through global empathy, they learn to be great listeners, understanding the message and looking for solutions. And when we want to find solutions, critical thinking is essential. It's problem solving by thinking outside of the box.
It's a new way of learning, and it's the wave of the future.
It's not your traditional educational experience anymore. You walk into classrooms and they're noisy and kids are engaged and they are taking on real problems in their own community and solving them.
They had an opportunity to come together with Mayor Ginther, and he came to them to problem solve and to really think about some of the big issues that are happening in the city and how can we solve them.
If we can keep that passion going, if we can keep the vision going for these children, then they're going to be able to tackle really whatever comes their way in the future. I get really excited when I think about that.
We guide our children to have independent thinking, critical thinking. They can analyze the information. They can think about what's right, what's wrong.
It's connecting the classroom to the community and making our students active change agents.
A large part is our students' attitude. It's how they approach challenges and overcome them. Challenges don't have to be scary or uncomfortable. They can be exciting and rewarding to overcome.
We're always learning things new about science.
I wrote a 20-page research paper, and I enjoyed it. Now that I'm looking back at it, I really enjoyed the entire process, because in the end, I opened my paper and I was oh my God, I really wrote this entire 20-page paper. And at first I thought it was gonna be super hard, but just thinking about the process, I fell in love with writing.
And it can be hard to problem solve. So I think that kind of imagining what it might look like and then putting that into real life can really help.
But if you make a mistake, it's okay, because mistakes, it's easy. You can kind of fix it.
There is a real commitment to push them and encourage them and find that niche, find that area that really encourages those students to move forward, to try things, to make mistakes, but to get back up and learn how to do that successfully.
We also want our students to apply critical thinking to themselves. What goals do they have? What do they want to do when they graduate? By thinking about their future early, our students start the process of considering who they aspire to be, beginning in pre-K, and that's exciting.
And so we're looking to really emphasize the idea of Porch Over Graduate starting cradle and ending career.
Having long-term goals and short-term goals help them to realize what is your ultimate purpose, to learn as much as you can to graduate so you can go on to college and whatever else you choose to do, so that you will be ready for the world and you'll be successful with whatever you choose.
That helps them grow as people, because then they can see the world through a more critical lens.
Accepting and valuing those who are different from us is at the core of global empathy.
Global empathy was something big that I learned from Columbus North International High School. It's a school where there's literally represents over 20 different countries. So many different languages are spoken at that school.
And it's very normal for me to see a kid say, hola, and then ni hao. I think that's one of the most beautiful things. We don't feel different, we feel unique. The difference is it became an asset. It's not like something we have to hide.
Columbus City Schools, I think as an organization, really allows for an unprecedented level of multicultural exposure, more than our surrounding district counterparts. We are so diverse here.
We serve lots of economic levels, so it's a multifaceted district.
And our kids see things differently. They're incredibly diverse, right? Much more acceptance of people who aren't like them, whether it be sexual orientation or race or gender identity.
If you haven't guessed by now, we see our diversity as one of our biggest strengths.
In order for us to fully realize that as a strength, we also have to be curious about one another's perspectives, life experiences, and the assets they bring to the table.
You should be there for your fellow human. And I think that it's important to teach kids that as young as we can.
I like my friends because they share. And by my friends is I don't want to make them angry or sad. I just want to cheer them up and make them happy.
Different people doesn't mean different things. Like, say a person's lighter than you. What does that mean?
You meet so many new people, different people. You get to know all these different cultures because you meet friends from countries you've never even heard from.
The world is bigger than just ourselves.
If you think of the world as all just one skin color, one religion, one culture, it's gonna be more boring because you're not gonna understand how other people feel.
The ability to be able to disagree and to be able to articulate your opinions and perspectives without being, confrontational necessarily, but also listening to one another.
Accepting and valuing those who are different from us is at the core of global empathy. It's about taking action to celebrate and protect our differences.
They are our leaders right now. They are pushing us to be better and to think better as grown-ups. And that's exactly what we need and what we're looking for.
The death of George Floyd, added an additional layer that we have kind of swept under the rug for a long time, and that's around inequity and racism.
Our students were a vital part of helping our entire community know that there were things that we just can't tolerate as citizens. And we want our students to be change agents, and they really showed us that they could be. And I think we're very proud of that as a district, to know that our students are willing and able to stand up for the things that they know are right.
This is the place where I live too. We always want to make the world a better place, so why not start now instead of waiting until it's too late?
We have to continue to march, continue to protest, continue to converse.
When we think about creativity, we're talking about students using their imagination to build something of value. And when our students learn with creativity at the forefront, it opens doors to new ways of approaching challenges.
I just got chills because in all my years in the district, we have not had this level of support for this pathway of learning that speaks to the whole child. Expression in the arts is something that we encourage. Our students have many opportunities to participate in concerts with the bands, strings, orchestra, art exhibitions.
And what's exciting about this attribute is that creativity isn't limited to the arts. It's applicable to everything our students do.
Creativity is about how you think. It's about freedom. You know, it's freedom to challenge the norm.
Everybody's creative in their own way. I feel like even if you don't think you're creative, trust me, you're creative. It kind of relates to like being unique to me because everybody's unique.
I like being creative. Like I love like mixing colors and stuff. I like to be creative because usually I wouldn't show my talents because I'm always shy.
Creativity actually helps a lot with studying. If you're not creative, you're gonna copy other people.
And that's the key. We want our students to come up with their own ideas and their own ways of learning, to understand what methods work best for them.
I'm curious, which means I just keep wanting to learn more and more and more and more.
That's where innovation is going to come from. Not from, the folks who've been doing it the same way for the last 30 or 40 years. It is going to come from the newer generation.
How do we set them up? We give them the tools that they need to be able to do whatever it is in life that they want to do.
We have the Adobe suite of products at our disposal now for our students to use at schools and at home to unleash their creativity. I'm so happy we're able to provide the tools finally now so that they can go and unleash it.
When our students use their creativity to build something of value, there's no limit to what we want them to create. It could be artwork, a dance performance, a new business or a new idea, a club or a movement. Value is defined not by who you are, but by who you impact.
It's propelling our students to what's next.
We have to make sure that we open up the doors for creativity. Don't try and change their trajectory. Allow them to be creative, allow them to discover the world.
And that's the power of being a creative person, a creative thinker. I know I can do anything I put my mind to. And I love being who I am.
At the end of the day, the question is why? Why go to all this trouble? Why make changes? Why take a new direction? The answer is simple: love. We are doing this for the love of learning, the love of teaching, love for our students.
One of the, I think, amazing things that have come out of this process is this idea that we will never be normal again, right? We have pushed through to a space of innovation, and we want to keep that and harness that energy.
What has not changed is the dedication and the drive. I mean, that is really why we're here.
What gets me up every morning is the love of students.
We are all about the kids. We put our lives on the line for the kids.
I knew I love you, I love you, I love every single one of you, and I have to continue doing what I'm doing to make sure that you have those opportunities to be successful.
I feel like that's what created my love for learning, is because I was really close with my teachers and my principals and all of that stuff.
I know she knows that she built me, and I'm always grateful for that.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher so I can teach.
And when you spend time with children, you see potentials and you see the future and you want the best for them.
Our children, our students are always always the center. And that is what Portrait is helping us do, to keep them the center and define what that looks like.
This is much more than just words on a page. It is a new day. Now is the time to put these words into action for our students, for our community, for us.
It is hard to get that synergy going, where your partners are also hand in hand with you with the same goals. And that we have in Columbus. We are blessed to have that in Columbus.
Now we have the board that will back her up and continue to push and really get us where we need to be so we can be a model of urban education.
At a time when COVID-19 has upended school years and transformed what learning is, how it feels, and what it looks like, I need you to know your graduation is important because we need you.
Yes, this year was tough, but you have proven to us that you're tougher.
Columbus City Schools has gone on to graduate students from Harvard, from Spelman, from Morehouse, from Duke, from OSU.
These students are the future of Columbus.
When people thought that we couldn't, when people said that we wouldn't, we did.
In Columbus City Schools, Portrait of a Graduate is the cornerstone to ensuring our graduates are well equipped to thrive, not only globally, but right here in Central Ohio.
Our work is just beginning, and we look forward to taking this journey together.